Coming up today, South and North Korea agree to hold high-level talks next month aimed at easing cross-border tension. Seoul says almost every topic will be on the table. Russia strikes back at Turkey with economic sanctions following its downing of a Russian warplane on the Turkey-Syria border. Plus, thousands of mourners attend a state funeral for former President Kim Youngsam, who passed away last weekend. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Friday, November 27th here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this morning, the two Koreas have agreed to hold their first high-level governmental talks in years. The talks, set to be held in North Korea in mid-December, could mark a major breakthrough in inter-Korean relations. Our Unification Ministry correspondent, Song Ji-son, starts us off.
A deal struck after 11 hours of negotiations. On December 11th, in just 2 weeks' time, the two Koreas will hold vice-ministerial level talks at their joint industrial complex in Kaesong. Further details will be fine-tuned through working level contact at the border village of Panmunjom, where the talks were held on Thursday. And all outstanding issues between the two Koreas will be discussed to improve inter-Korean relations. Seoul's Unification Ministry said setting the agenda was what took the longest time to arrange. South Korea's top priority is holding regular reunions for war-separated families, but Pyongyang, as widely expected, insisted Seoul resume tours to its Mount Geunhye resort. Seoul halted tours to that area after a South Korean tourist was shot dead by a North Korean soldier in 2008. Although Pyongyang wanted to limit the scope of agendas, the two eventually agreed to the South call that a comprehensive package of deals be handled.
Seoul wanted the governmental talks to function as a channel to discuss a broad range of outstanding issues between the two Koreas. Pyongyang wanted to specify the agenda, but agreed to Seoul's proposal to make the next round of talks inclusive.
This means other agendas like North Korea's nuclear issues or easing Seoul's sanctions on Pyongyang could be dealt with at the upcoming inter-Korean talks. Thursday's working-level talks came just 3 months after an agreement was reached at high-level talks in August, although it took 2 months for Pyongyang to respond to Seoul's invitation. Reunions for war-separated families were also successfully held last month at the North Mount Geunhye resort, which was also part of the deal reached then. As for the rank of officials to attend, the two sides quickly agreed to send vice-ministerial level officials. That was what halted the working-level talks in 2013. North Korea suggested the Mount Geunhye resort, Kaesong Industrial Complex, or the border village of Panmunjom as the venue for convenience of transfer, while South Korea offered to host the talks in Seoul. The next round of talks following those on December 11th will take place either in Seoul or Pyongyang. Song Ji-son, Arirang News.
Russia is planning to slap economic sanctions on Turkey in retaliation for the country shooting down one of its warplanes on the Turkey-Syria border. Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev has directed the government to come up with a series of punishing measures. They could end up including restricting gas exports, halting joint investment projects and partially banning food imports from Turkey. Russia's finance minister said the measures could even curtail commercial flights, tourism and preparations for a free trade zone between the countries. Now, earlier in the day, President Putin complained that Russia had not received an apology from Turkey, nor any offer of compensation or promise to punish those responsible for downing the jet. Turkish officials later rebuffed Putin's demand for an apology, saying it had no reason to say sorry. Turkey continues to insist the plane violated its airspace, charges Moscow denies. Belgium has lowered the security threat level in the capital Brussels, ending an almost 1 week period on maximum alert following the deadly terror attacks in Paris. The National Crisis Centre made a decision on Thursday to downgrade the alert level from level 4, a very serious imminent threat, to level 3, a serious possible threat, bringing the capital city in line with the rest of Belgium. Now, despite the downgrade, armed police and troops will remain on the streets of Brussels. The metro, which partially reopened along with schools on Wednesday after a 4-day lockdown, is going to run as normal on Friday. Meanwhile, the international manhunt continues for Salah Abdeslam and Mohamed Abrini, who are believed to be linked to the Paris terror attacks. Now, South Korea bid a final farewell on Thursday to former President Kim Youngsam at his state funeral in Seoul. Kim, who led the nation for 5 years in the 1990s, died last weekend. Ji Myung-gil reports.
Thousands of mourners stood under a light dusting of snow to pay their final respects to former President Kim Youngsam at the state funeral held for him on Thursday at the National Assembly. Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-ahn, who headed the funeral organizing committee, delivered an address on behalf of the nation.
The spirit of Kim Youngsam will live on here at the National Assembly. We will aspire to build a peaceful and prosperous country in line with the late president's wishes.
The ceremony was invitation only, but members of the public were able to watch from a distance. It was the first state funeral held in Korea after the State Funeral Act was revised a year ago to allow state funerals for national leaders. The eulogy was given by Kim Soo-han, who was part of the Sangdo-dong faction led by Kim Youngsam. Kim Soo-han served as the National Assembly Speaker during the last 2 years of Kim's presidency, and he currently heads the Kim Youngsam Center for Democracy.
As a true civilian politician, Kim loved and served the people. He sacrificed his life for democracy and civil rights. It's impossible to imagine you could leave us behind so soon.
Afterward, the leaders of 3 religions, Protestant, Catholic, and Buddhist, performed last rites for the deceased. The rituals were followed by flower offerings given by the former president's relatives, government officials, and foreign dignitaries. Former President Kim Youngsam will be remembered by many Koreans as a proud pro-democracy leader who fought against militant regimes, as well as the first civilian president following decades of military rule. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
Now, President Park Geunhye didn't attend the funeral ceremony due to a heavy cold, but she did bid farewell to the former president as his funeral car left the hospital. Our presidential office correspondent Hwang Sang-hee has his report.
In freezing cold weather, President Park watched as the hearse carrying the body of former President Kim Youngsam left Seoul National University Hospital in central Seoul. She offered her condolences to the late president's son, and he thanked her for attending the ceremony despite her ill health. President Park has been suffering from a high fever and a cold following her recent 10-day tour that took her to Turkey, the Philippines, and Malaysia. Her health prevented her from attending the state funeral that was held on the grounds of the National Assembly. President Park's doctor had recommended that she refrain from any outdoor activities. The presidential office of Cheongwade said that despite the doctor's advice, the president decided to go to the hospital to pay her respects to the late president. Earlier in the day, the president's illness had forced her to cancel a planned appearance at a forum on the creative economy. President Park will leave for a 7-day trip on Sunday that will take her to Paris for the UN Climate Change Conference, and then to Prague for a summit with the leaders of the Visegrad Group countries, including the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia. Hwang Sang-hee, Arirang News.
And after the funeral, the late pro-democracy activist and 14th president of Korea was laid to rest at Seoul National Cemetery. Park Ji-won reports.
During the 70-minute-long ceremony, there were offerings of flowers and incense, and then the coffin was interred, and Kim was laid to rest. Only about 250 people were allowed to attend the burial ceremony, including members of Kim's family and friends and politicians who were close to him, including former National Assembly speakers Kim Soo-han and Park Geunhye and the current speaker Chung Eui-hwa. Before Kim's funeral procession arrived at the cemetery, it traveled through his home neighborhood of Sangdo-dong in southern Seoul. The procession also made a trip by the Kim Youngsam Memorial Library, which is still under construction. The detour was taken to commemorate the late pro-democracy leader's lifelong contributions to the nation. The late president had one last message for the country before his death: unity and harmony. Now that there are many politicians who are claiming to be heirs to Kim's political legacy, we just hope that they will honor the late leader's words into practice. Park Geunhye, Arirang News.
Now, in other news, concerns are growing that the ratification of a free trade deal signed between Korea and China in June could be postponed to next year, as Korea's rival parties remain at odds over the matter. The ruling Saenuri Party will make another attempt to reach an agreement with the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy on this Friday, in the hope the pact can still go into effect by the end of this year. The government and the ruling party are calling for the FTA's prompt ratification. They say it will bring economic benefits and allow Korean companies to enjoy the full benefits of the deal. However, the opposition NPAD is opposed to taking a hasty move. They want the government and the ruling party to come up with more realistic measures to compensate the sectors that would take a hit from the FTA, such as Korea's agriculture industry. The Korean government has confirmed that over a dozen Volkswagen and Audi models sold in Korea contain emissions cheating software. As a result, more than 120,000 cars sold by the VW Group will be recalled and the German automaker will be fined. Park Geunhye has this report.
After an investigation lasting over 50 days, Korea's Ministry of Environment confirmed what many have already expected.
After testing 7 cars from 6 different Volkswagen models that received emissions certification before September last year, we've confirmed the existence of emissions rigging software.
The investigation revealed that so far, only the Tiguan model with the EA189 engine was equipped with the emissions testing defeat device. The ministry has ordered for all vehicles running on this engine in Korea to be recalled. That's over 125,000 cars, comprising 15 different car models. The models include the Volkswagen Beetle and the Audi's Q5, Q3 and A4. Sales of these models have also been suspended. The investigation on other car models is still ongoing. The Transport Ministry will now start its own inquiry on whether the cheat device also affected fuel efficiency and safety. The government has demanded Volkswagen to provide plans for recalls by January the 6th. A fine of $12.3 million has also been given, and government officials said they have asked the German auto giant to issue reimbursements to the car owners affected in the form of cash or coupons, which have been offered in the US and Canada. Industry experts have praised the investigation, but warned the government must now follow through in effectively recalling the vehicles and compensating the affected car owners.
It does look like the investigation has been very thorough, but as it is the case with most of the other countries affected at the moment, details for compensation need to be drawn up more comprehensively. It's also important that owners of cars to be recalled go through with it for environmental reasons.
Now that the government has confirmed the existence of emissions rigging software in cars sold here in Korea, the time has come for Volkswagen to pay the price here as well. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
Now, shifting gears a bit, the Korean wave, or Hallyu, is still going strong around the world. And there are, in fact, a growing number of avid consumers of Korean pop music, films and dramas. And now we can add Korean food to that list. For more on the K-food craze in Europe, here's our Won Ji-yeon.
This restaurant in Milan is bustling with diners. The main menu consists of traditional Korean dishes like bulgogi and bibimbap. And for dessert, there's bungeoppang, a goldfish-shaped pastry filled with ice cream. Rumor has it that Korean foods like these have captivated European taste buds.
Everything was delicious and light. The vegetables are also very fresh.
Here's a food stand in Spain that serves fusion-style Korean cuisine. From kimchi to bulgogi, everything is made from scratch, all to create the best-tasting Korean-style tacos.
I come here every month because this place serves better food.
A Korean food craze has taken Europe by storm. The British tabloid Daily Mail reported that Korean cuisine was flying off the shelves at UK supermarkets. And some of the signature Korean dishes were quite popular at this year's Milan Expo.
We focused on improving the quality of the Korean food being served to global consumers, and I think it worked. It turned out to be a huge success.
Experts say localizing the flavor profile of Korean dishes and simplifying recipes will be the keys to maintaining the K-food craze in the West. Won Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Well, that's all we have for now on this Friday morning here in Seoul. The weekend is almost with us. Thank you as always for tuning in, and we'll be back throughout the day with more newscasts. Goodbye.